There is knowledge not meant for the masses, truths kept in the silence of temples and in the whispers of those who have understood the true nature of power. Knowledge so potent that its simple revelation has the ability to alter the fabric of reality. You have not come across this audiobook by chance. You have been guided by a longing within your own soul, by the persistent feeling that the world you see is not the whole truth. You have found the key to a knowledge that has been waiting for you. This is the forbidden secret, knowledge of the 33rd degree. The moment you choose to listen to these words, you are not simply learning. You are participating in a ritual. You are breaking the seal of illusion that has kept you believing that you are a victim of circumstance. That reality is solid, external, and unchanging. Throughout the 10 revelations in this manual, you will not find complex theories or dogmas that you must blindly accept. You will discover the operating principles of creation, the laws that consciousness uses to shape energy. Each chapter is a key designed to open a new door in perception, to return to you a power that has always been yours, but that you had forgotten. You will discover that the universe is not something that happens to you, but something that responds to you. And you will learn to send the correct signal so that it bends, not to your whim, but to the highest vision of your soul. The knowledge you are about to receive cannot be unlearned. Once the seal is broken, reality is never the same. You will see the hidden mechanics behind coincidences, understand the power of your own inner state, and recognize your role, not as a pawn on the board of life, but as the player who moves the pieces. This is not a promise of a life without challenges. It is the promise of a life without powerlessness. It is the delivery of the tools with which you can sculpt any circumstance, transmute any obstacle, and build with the precision of an architect the reality you choose to experience. Chapter 1. The Law of the Mirror. Why your reality is an echo of your soul. Forget everything you have been taught about a solid, external world separate from you. Forget the idea that you are a small, fragile vessel at the mercy of the waves of an indifferent ocean. That is the great illusion, the hypnotic dream from which you are about to awaken. The first, last, and only truth that this knowledge reveals is that the world you experience, your finances, your relationships, your health, the coincidences of your day is not an independent entity that happens to you. It is an echo, a living mirror, impeccable and of absolute honesty, that reflects without filters, without judgments, and without delay the signal you are emitting every instant of your existence. Imagine that you are standing in the center of a vast, silent valley surrounded by sacred mountains. Every sound you emit, from the loudest shout to the slightest whisper, is returned to you with impeccable precision. The valley does not judge your words. It does not edit them. It does not interpret them. It simply reflects. Your consciousness is the source of the sound. Your state of being, the sum total of your thoughts, your subconscious beliefs, and your dominant emotions, is the song you sing in the silence of your soul. And the universe, this great valley of echoes, is the one that reflects it. If your inner song is a funeral march of fear and scarcity, the echo you will hear in the symphony of your circumstances will be that of unexpected bills, lost opportunities, and constant struggle. If your inner song is a hymn of love and certainty, the echo that will return to you will be that of chance encounters, doors that open, and a flow of grace and prosperity. The person who understands this law stops fighting the echo. He stops cursing the mountains, trying to change the circumstances of your life, your bank account, your partner's attitude, your medical diagnosis, without first changing your inner state is as useless, as exhausting, and as maddening as shouting at the mountain to stop repeating your own words of frustration. The only place of power, the only point of creation, is the source of the sound. It is you. To become a conscious creator, you must first become a master of the song you sing. The mechanics of the reflection, the physics of resonance. This principle is not a poetic philosophy or a self-help idea. It is a law of the physics of consciousness, as real as gravity. It operates through the principle of vibrational resonance, like a tuning fork that, when struck, causes other nearby tuning forks of the same frequency to vibrate in sympathy. Your state of being emits a unique electromagnetic signature. Your heart, as we will see, is the most powerful antenna, transmitting this signature to the quantum field, the invisible fabric that connects all things, and the quantum field, which is the material of the mirror, is obligated by its very nature to organize energy and matter to correspond, to resonate with your broadcast. You do not attract what you want with your superficial mind. You attract what you are with the totality of your vibrational being. The mirror does not reflect your desires. It reflects your identity. The three great mirrors of life. This law manifests most clearly and often most painfully in the three great arenas of human experience. Learn to read these three mirrors, and you will have deciphered 90% of the language of your life. The mirror of abundance, your finances, your prosperity, your relationship with money, are not a reflection of your effort, your intelligence, your worth as a person, or the state of the economy. They are a direct and brutally honest reflection of your consciousness of abundance. If your inner state is one of scarcity, if your habitual thoughts are of worry about the future, if you feel a knot of contraction in your stomach when paying a bill, if you deeply believe that money is hard to come by, or that there is never enough, that is the song you are emitting. And the universe, like a faithful mirror, will reflect back to you a reality of unexpected bills, urgent repairs, opportunities that vanish at the last minute, and a constant struggle to make ends meet. If, on the contrary, you cultivate an inner state of abundance, if you deliberately focus on gratitude for what you already have, if you feel a serene confidence that your needs are always met, if you believe that money is an energy that flows easily to you and through you, the mirror will have no choice but to return a reality of unexpected opportunities, fortunate synchronicities, clients who appear out of nowhere, and a constant flow of prosperity that seems miraculous to the untrained observer. The mirror of relationships. The quality of your relationships does not reflect the quality of the other people. It reflects with a surgeon's precision the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. People do not treat you as you are. They treat you as you treat yourself. If within you harbor a deep feeling of unworthiness or a voice of relentless self-criticism, you will attract into your life, with a magnetic precision, people who will treat you with that same lack of respect, who will criticize you and make you feel small, reflecting and validating your own inner judgment. If you live in a state of fear of abandonment, anchored in a childhood wound, you will attract over and over again partners who are emotionally unavailable, who are distant, or who ultimately leave, fulfilling your own painful prophecy. Conversely, when you cultivate a state of radical self-love, self-respect, and wholeness, when you enjoy your own company and stop needing others to validate you, you stop emitting the frequency of need. And in that non-need, you become irresistibly magnetic to hold secure and loving people who reflect the very wholeness you have found within yourself. The mirror of health. Your physical body is the most intimate and most literal mirror of all. It is a canvas that paints on a cellular level the image of your emotional state and your dominant beliefs. A chronic state of stress, anger, or resentment is not just a mental state. It is a biochemical state. It floods your body with hormones like cortisol, which create inflammation, suppress the immune system, and shut down cellular repair mechanisms. The body, over time, reflects this inner disharmony in the form of illness, chronic pain, and accelerated aging. A state of peace, love, and joy creates a healing biochemistry. It releases endorphins, serotonin, and other hormones that optimize your immune system, reduce inflammation, and activate the genes of longevity and regeneration. The body, a perfect mirror, reflects this inner harmony as vitality, well-being, and resilience. The first practice, the art of reading the reflection, the echo diagnosis. Your first practice is not to change anything. It is to understand. It is the art of using your external reality as the most precise and honest diagnostic tool that exists. When you encounter an unwanted external circumstance, a financial crisis, a relationship conflict, a physical symptom, resist the programmed impulse to fall into the spiral of complaint and victimhood. Instead, pause, breathe, become the scientist of your own consciousness. You take your journal, and you ask yourself the sacred question of the law of the mirror. If this external event is a perfect mirror, without judgment, what belief, emotional state, or inner song within me is it reflecting with such precision? The financial reality diagnosis. If the mirror of your finances shows you constant scarcity, the question is not, why don't I have money? The creator's question is, what is my inner song about money? Is it one of fear of scarcity? Is it one of unworthiness? Is it the inherited belief that people like me don't get rich, or that money is dirty? Be honest. Write the answer. The relationship diagnosis. If the mirror of your relationship shows you a pattern of abandonment, the question is not, why does everyone leave me? The creator's question is, where am I abandoning myself? What part of me believes it is not worthy of constant, secure love? Am I myself running away from true intimacy? The health diagnosis. If the mirror of your body shows you a recurring symptom, the question is not, why is my body failing me? The creator's question is, what message is my body sending me? What unexpressed emotion, anger, sadness am I repressing? What belief in fragility am I holding? This act of honest self-inquiry is the first and most crucial step. It removes you from the role of the helpless victim and places you in the role of the conscious creator, because you can only change what you are fully conscious of. You have read the mirror's diagnosis. The second practice, the art of changing the image, the origin workshop. A madman is one who, seeing a spot on his face in the mirror, tries to clean the mirror with rage and frustration. The conscious creator knows that the only place where change is possible and permanent is at the origin of the image, in himself. Once you have read the reflection and diagnosed the belief or inner state that is causing it, you begin the true work, the work of reality re-imprinting. This protocol has 3 phases. Clarify the new image, the blueprint. It is not enough to know what you don't want. You must define with crystalline clarity what you do choose. You use your disciplined imagination to build within you the mental and sensory equivalent of the reality you choose. You create your wish-fulfilled scene, charged with detail and emotion, as we learned in previous chapters. Generate the new frequency, the music. With the blueprint clear, you must now generate the music. You deliberately practice, like a musician rehearsing a new piece, the states of self-love, peace, gratitude, and harmony, knowing that the world can only bring you people and conditions that are a resonance of your new inner song. Embody the new identity, the musician. Finally, you become the person you want to attract. You don't wait to have money to feel abundant. You cultivate abundance so that money arrives. You don't wait for the perfect partner to love yourself. You love yourself so that the perfect partner appears. You become in your inner being the image you wish to see in the mirror. The third practice, the discipline of loyalty to the invisible, ignoring the delay. This is the practice of mastery. When you change your inner song, the reflection in the mirror does not change instantly. There is a delay, a cosmic buffer. For a time you will continue to see the reflection of your old song while the universe reorganizes the scene. This is the most dangerous moment, where most people give up. They look at the mirror, see the old reflection, and conclude, it doesn't work. And in doing so, they start singing the old song again, aborting the process. Your practice is that of loyalty to the invisible. Once you have changed your inner image, you remain loyal to that new truth, regardless of what the mirror temporarily shows you. When you look at your bank account and don't yet see abundance, you don't panic. You calmly smile and declare inwardly, my inner reality is the cause. The outer reflection is an echo of the past that is already fading. I know what new image I am projecting. This unshakable faith in your power as the source of the image is what sustains the new vibration long enough for the mirror, by law, to have no choice but to update and reflect your new truth. Chapter 2. The Secret of Non-Resistance, How to Surrender to Win. When you resist a circumstance, a feeling, or a thought, you are making a fatal strategic mistake. You are giving it your most precious resource, the divine currency with which you buy reality, your attention. And as you already know, what you focus your attention on grows. Resisting poverty through fear and constant worry is focusing all your energy and observational power on poverty, feeding it, watering it, giving it the strength to continue manifesting in your life. Resisting loneliness through desperation and longing is focusing all your energy on the vibration of loneliness, magnifying it and turning yourself into a magnet for more of the same. Resisting a negative thought is entering into a war with it, giving it an importance, a solidity, and a power it did not possess when it was a simple, fleeting spark. Imagine you are in a game of tug-of-war with a monster called your problem. As long as you keep pulling the rope, as long as you keep resisting with all your might, you are tied to it. All your energy is dedicated to it. You are facing it, and you cannot move from that spot. You might gain some ground, you might drag it a few inches, but you are still in the same game on the same muddy battlefield, spending all your vital force on an endless struggle. The only way to win the game of tug-of-war is to let go of the rope. The moment you release your resistance, the moment you stop pulling, the monster, which was feeding on your own opposing force, falls backward due to its own inertia. It loses all its power over you. And you, for the first time, are free to turn and walk in a new direction, toward a new game, a new field of creation. The anatomy of surrender, the supreme power. The word surrender has been deeply misunderstood in our culture. We associate it with defeat, weakness, passivity, failure. But in the context of universal laws, surrender is the act of supreme power. The master's strategy. We must differentiate it from its poor and disempowered cousin, resignation. Resignation is the state of the victim. It is born of powerlessness and hopelessness. It is the sigh of "I've fought, I can't do anything, so I give up." Its vibration is low frequency, of defeat, of contraction. It is letting go of the rope because you no longer have the strength. Surrender, on the other hand, is the state of the conscious creator. It is born of power and absolute trust in the law. It is the serene declaration of, "I have done my part, set the intention and the state of being, and now I trust a higher intelligence to take care of the rest, in ways my limited mind cannot conceive." It is an active faith. It is letting go of the rope as a deliberate, strategic move. Surrender is not giving up your power. It is giving up the illusion of control of the ego to allow a much greater power, the power of the universe, to act through you and for you. And the path of water, the wisdom of Wu Wei, the ancient Taoist sages, masters in the observation of nature, coined the perfect metaphor for this supreme state of power, Wu Wei. Wu Wei is often translated as inaction or non-doing, but this translation is misleading and has led many to passivity. Wu Wei does not mean laziness. It means, more precisely, effortless action or action without struggle. It is the art of acting in perfect harmony with the natural flow of the universe. With the Tao, imagine you are in a swift river and your destination is downstream. The person who operates from control is the one who tries to swim frantically against the current to stay safe, or tries to paddle faster than the river to get there sooner. His effort is immense, his progress is minimal, and his exhaustion is total. He is at war with the river. The master of Wu Wei is the one who, instead of fighting the river, surrenders to its current. He gets on a raft, his state of faith, lets go of the oars, his need to control the how, and uses a small rudder, his clear intention and his intuition, to gently guide himself between the rocks, using the immense, unstoppable force of the river to carry him to his destination with a speed and grace that the swimmer could never achieve. He is not fighting life. He is dancing with it. Intelligent surrender is not giving up. It is handing over the how and the when to a higher intelligence that has the satellite vision, while you only have a street map. It is the act of faith that, once you have established your destination, your decree, the universe knows the fastest, most elegant, and most joyful route to get you there. The first practice, the art of accepting what is, letting go of the rope. The first and most powerful act of non-resistance is the radical acceptance of the present moment. This does not mean that you like it, that you approve of it, or that you want your current circumstances to continue forever. It means that you stop spending your precious energy on the useless war of wishing that things in this precise instant were different from what they are. Your practice is that of non-judgmental witnessing. When faced with an unwanted situation, an unexpected bill, a partner's criticism, a physical symptom, traffic, your first programmed instinct will be resistance, complaint, fear, anger, frustration. In that moment, pause, breathe, and instead of fighting the reality of the moment, simply observe it. Say inwardly with a sovereign calm, "This is what is now." You do not say "this is terrible" or "this is fine." Simply, "This is." You feel the emotion of resistance in your body, the tension in your chest, the knot in your stomach. but you do not identify with it. You observe it as if it were a cloud passing through the sky of your consciousness. This simple act of acceptance removes all its energy from the problem. You have let go of the tug-of-war rope. The monster of circumstance, deprived of your resistance, loses its power over you. And in the space of that liberation, in the calm that follows acceptance for the first time, you have the clarity and the power to respond to the situation with wisdom, instead of reacting to it with the panic of your programming. The second practice, the art of letting go of the how, intelligent surrender. Once you have accepted the present, you must surrender the future. The practice is the handover of the how. You have planted the seed of your desire in your consciousness. You have defined the what with crystalline clarity. Now you must completely let go of your attachment to how and when it will manifest. The ego, in its need for control, creates a rigid, linear plan. The money has to arrive through this job. Love has to come from this person. Healing has to happen with this treatment. This mental rigidity is a dam in the river of creation, blocking the infinite, often miraculous ways the universe could deliver your good. Intelligent surrender is the act of dismantling that dam. It is a ritual of trust. In your meditation, after having held your vision, you perform a symbolic act of handover. You imagine your desire as a sphere of light, and with a feeling of deep relief and trust, you hand it over to universal intelligence, to your higher self, and you declare, "I trust your wisdom. Manifest this or something better in the perfect way and in the perfect time. I let go of my control. I'm open to your miracles. Thank you because it is already done." The third practice, the art of blessing the obstacle, the alchemy of difficulty. Finally, the most elevated practice of non-resistance is the alchemy of the obstacle. You not only stop resisting challenges, you learn to love them and to extract their wisdom. When you encounter a closed door, a universe no, an apparent failure, instead of seeing it as a punishment, you see it as a divine redirection. Your practice is that of the blessing. Faced with the obstacle, instead of cursing it, you bless it. You declare, "I bless this apparent obstacle. I know it is a signal, a lesson or a protection for my highest good. I am grateful for the wisdom it contains, and I open myself to understanding its message." This act of blessing transmutes the energy of the obstacle from one of frustration to one of curiosity and faith. It turns you into a partner of the universe, not its adversary. It allows you to ask the alchemist's questions. What is this protecting me from? What is it preparing me to receive? To what greater good is it redirecting me? The fourth practice, finding the yes in the no, the soul's aikido. This is the master's practice. Every time you feel a strong resistance, a visceral no towards something in your life, you understand that resistance is not the problem. It is the compass. Your resistance is the signal that a sacred yes within you is being violated. If you feel immense resistance to your job, you don't focus on hating the job. You ask, what is the sacred yes that this no is protecting? Perhaps the answer is, my yes to creativity, to freedom, to purposeful work. If you feel resistance toward a relationship dynamic, you ask, what is my sacred yes here? Perhaps it is my yes to respectful communication, to peace, to feeling valued. Once you have identified the underlying yes, your focus shifts. You stop fighting the no and start moving toward the yes. Resistance ceases to be an obstacle and becomes your clearest guidance system, the one that shows you exactly where your soul longs to move. The physics of resistance has been deciphered. You have understood that the force that was holding you back was not the world but your own misapplied effort. You have learned that power does not reside in pushing, but in being. Chapter 3. The Inner Eye. Imagination as the architect of reality. The untrained mind, a product of a rationalist culture that distrusts the invisible, has relegated imagination to the corner of children and artists. It sees it as a form of fantasy, a daydreaming that takes us away from real life. It is considered, at best, a harmless entertainment and at worst, a form of self-deception. But the initiate in the secrets of creation knows the truth. Imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the workshop where reality is forged. Every great human achievement, from the most imposing cathedral to the most moving symphony, from the bridge that connects two continents to the rocket that travels to the stars, first existed as a clear, detailed, and sustained image in someone's imagination. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the quantum simulator of consciousness, the design room of the architect of the universe, the portal through which the invisible potential of the field becomes a tangible possibility in the mind. To use this tool with mastery, we must make a crucial distinction. Fantasy is passive. It is a movie we watch in our minds, often without control, a stream of images that entertains, distracts, or frightens us. Fantasy is often a symptom of lack, an escape from a present reality that does not satisfy us. Creative imagination, or disciplined visualization, is active. It is the deliberate act of building a mental scene with a defined purpose. It is not watching a movie. It is being the screenwriter, the director, and the main actor of that movie. It is a rehearsal in the theater of the mind. The persistent daydreams, those visions of a better life that do not leave you, are not your whims. They are the blueprints that the universal architect, your own soul, is sending you. Your job is to learn to read them, refine them, and sustain them with faith. The physics of imagination, how an image becomes a fact. The power of imagination is not a superstition. It is a law of the mind, a process that operates through precise neurobiological and metaphysical mechanisms. The brain is the ultimate simulator. Your brain cannot clearly distinguish between an experience that is happening in the external world, perceived through your five senses, and an experience you are living with sensory and emotional intensity in your inner world. For your nervous system, both are real. When you perform an act in your imagination, you are activating the same neural circuits, releasing the same cascade of peptides and hormones. That would activate if you were performing the action physically. When an Olympic athlete visualizes the perfect race 1,000 times in his mind, he is sending the same electrical signals to his muscles as if he were running. He is creating muscle memory without moving. When you, in the theater of your mind, vividly rehearse the experience of your wish fulfilled, you are not simply dreaming. You are rewiring your brain. You are building the neural superhighways of your new reality, making the path to it familiar and easy to travel for your body and mind too. The creation of a memory of the future. The result of this repeated mental rehearsal is the creation of a memory of the future. Your brain normally is an archive of the past. Its main function is to use that archive to predict and therefore create your future. If your past is full of failures, your brain will project a future of failures. By creatively visualizing, you are hacking this system. You are acting as a time traveler. You travel to the desired future, experience it fully, and then return to the present, but you bring with you a memory of that future. You are deliberately installing a new memory in your brain's file. Once this memory is installed through repetition and, crucially, emotion, your brain accepts it as a fact. And since the brain's job is to create coherence between your inner world and the outer one, it will begin to direct your perceptions, your decisions, and your behaviors in a way that aligns with that new memory, so it can be recreated in the external world. You stop creating from your past and start creating from your future. The chemistry of embodiment, the inner pharmacy. Your body, which is the physical expression of your mind, responds instantly to the images you hold. It is your inner pharmacy, and your images are the prescriptions you give it. By imagining your success, your body produces the chemistry of confidence and joy. By imagining your healing, your body can produce the chemistry of regeneration and homeostasis, optimizing your immune system. By imagining failure and worry, which is also an act of imagination, your body produces the chemistry of stress. Through creative imagination, you are teaching your body, on a cellular level, what your new reality feels like. And this feeling, as we have seen, is the magnetic frequency that attracts manifestation. You are becoming, biochemically, the person who has already achieved their desire, closing the vibrational gap between you and your goal. The first practice, the forging of the perfect scene, the quantum mold. For your imaginal act to have maximum power to impress the subconscious mind, it must be forged with clear precision and intention. It cannot be a long rambling scene. It must be a quantum mold, a perfectly carved jewel, a 5 to 10 second trailer of your finished movie. The scene you build in your mind must follow 4 fundamental laws. The law of the final outcome, living from the conclusion. You never, ever visualize the process, the path to your desire. Visualizing the process often implies also visualizing the possible obstacles and struggle, which creates a contradictory signal. Instead, you always visualize the final accomplished outcome. You don't imagine yourself struggling to write the book. You imagine yourself holding the already printed book in your hands. You don't imagine yourself going through job interviews. You imagine yourself in a conversation with a loved one, saying with overflowing joy, "I got the job." This act of living from the end is the most potent declaration of faith. It tells the subconscious that the goal has already been achieved, and its only job is to fill in the details of the how. The law of the first person, the creator's point of view. You don't watch a movie of yourself from the outside, as if you were a spectator in a theater. You are the protagonist. The scene is always lived through your own eyes. You don't see yourself receiving a hug. You feel the arms of that person around you. You smell their perfume. You feel the warmth of their body against yours. Living it in the first person is association and embodiment. You are telling your nervous system, "This is happening to me." Now 3. The law of sensory richness, the body's language. The subconscious is the mind of the body, and its native language is the 5 senses. To convince it that a scene is real, it must be sensorially rich. When forging your scene, do a sensory check-in. What do I see specifically? Colors, light, the expression on someone's face. What do I hear? Voices, ambient sounds, the sound of your own laughter. What do I feel on my skin? The texture of an object, the temperature of the air, the touch of another person. What do I smell or taste? The smell of fresh coffee, the taste of a celebratory meal. The more sensory details you include, the more real the experience will be for your nervous system. The law of emotional impregnation, the seal of reality. Finally, and this is the most important part, the scene must be impregnated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. An emotionally empty scene has no magnetic power. The image is the mold. The feeling is the substance that fills and solidifies it. The emotion of gratitude, relief, joy, and peace is the signature that seals the creation. It is the save command that engraves the new memory in your subconscious. Before you end your visualization, always ask yourself, what is the dominant feeling of this scene? And you immerse yourself in that feeling, you amplify it, you let it flood every cell of your being. But the second practice, the nightly rehearsal, the dream workshop. The architect knows that the most receptive canvas, the moment the subconscious is most open to receiving a new blueprint without the interference of the inner critic, is the drowsy, hypnagogic state just before falling asleep. Every night you prepare for your most potent creation ritual. The entrance to the workshop, you lie in bed. You relax your body completely. You enter the portal, the moment the logical mind's guardian begins to doze off. The projection and the loop. Now, with a gentle, effortless intention, you enter your short and perfect scene. You live it in the first person, with all your senses and above all with all your emotion. You feel the texture of the signed document. You hear the congratulatory word. You feel the wave of gratitude in your chest, and then the curtain falls. You return to the beginning of the brief scene and repeat it, over and over, like a lullaby, until the scene feels so real and so familiar that you fall asleep inside of it. This act of impregnating the subconscious mind just before sleep is the most potent act of manifestation that exists. It is handing the finalized blueprint to the master builder, just before he begins his 8-hour shift of building your world. The third practice, the daytime snapshot, the memory reinforcement. The nightly work is powerful, but during the day, old programming and external reality will try to drag you back to the old memory. You must reinforce the new memory. The protocol is the quantum snapshot. The protocol, several times a day, you take 60 seconds. You close your eyes wherever you are, and you replay your perfect scene once or twice in your mind. It is not a long ritual. It is a quick reset. Your main goal is to regenerate, even for an instant, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Each of these snapshots is like a fresh coat of paint on the new canvas, making it increasingly vivid and dominant. It is like looking at a photo of your vacation destination to remind yourself where you are headed in the middle of a stressful workday. It keeps the new reality in the foreground of your consciousness. The language of imagination has been revealed to you. It is no longer a childish tool of fantasy. It is the language with which you dialogue directly with the field of potentiality. You have learned to draw the blueprint, write the script, and direct the movie of your life. You have learned to create memories of a future that, now with this devoted practice, has become inevitable. Chapter 4. The Empty Cup on the Art of Receiving. Since birth, we have been taught that growth is a process of accumulation. We accumulate knowledge in school. We accumulate experiences in life. We accumulate possessions to demonstrate our success. We accumulate beliefs, certainties, opinions. We believe in the deepest part of our programming that the more we know, the more full we are, the more valuable and powerful we are. The ego delights in this idea. Its identity is built on what it knows. It clings to its opinions, its conclusions, its old stories, as if they were a treasure. A mind full of certainties is a mind that feels secure, a mind that believes illusorily that it is in control. But forbidden knowledge reveals an inverted truth. To be able to receive the new idea, the new solution, the new opportunity, the new version of yourself, you must first make space. You must first empty yourself. Imagine you are a teacup. If you are already filled to the brim with your old ideas, with your prejudices, with your way of seeing the world, with your stories about who you are and how things should be, how can you receive the fresh wisdom that the universe longs to pour into you every instant? Any new drop of knowledge, inspiration, or grace will simply spill over the sides, unable to enter. A mind that knows everything is a mind that has stopped learning. A full cup is a cup useless for the purpose of creation. It is in the void, in receptivity, in the space of not knowing, where the true power of creation and revelation resides. Or the physics of the void, receptivity as a frequency. This is not a merely philosophical principle. It is a law of energy, of vibration. When your mind is full of judgments, rigid expectations, the need to be right, the story of your past, your vibrational state is one of contraction and resistance. You are a sealed fortress, a closed system. Energetically, you are shouting at the universe, I don't need anything new. I already know everything. I am not open. My reality is this and it cannot change. When, on the contrary, you cultivate a state of void, of curiosity, openness, wonder, beginner's mind. Your vibrational state is one of expansion and receptivity. You are an open channel, a magnetic vortex. Your frequency is an invitation, a welcome. You are telling the universe, I am ready to receive. Surprise me. Show me something new. And the universe, which always responds to your frequency, obeys. To the full and resistant mind, it reflects its own rigidity, presenting it over and over again with a reality that confirms its old limited beliefs. It is a self-validation loop. To the empty and receptive mind, it pours its secrets, the inspiration that solves the problem, the synchronicity that opens the door, the intuitive guidance that reveals the shortcut, the solution that appears from nowhere. The miracle cannot enter a space that is already occupied by your certainty. The anatomy of the full cup, the 3 stones of the ego to be able to empty our cup. We must first be aware of the heavy, voluminous stones that fill it, the 3 great ego blockages that prevent us from receiving the grace of the universe. The stone of certainty, the I already know. This is the heaviest, densest stone. It is the arrogance of the intellect that believes it has deciphered the map of reality. It is the mind that, when faced with a new idea, instead of exploring it with curiosity, immediately compares it with its existing knowledge archive and labels it, this is impossible, this is nonsense. I've already heard this before, and it didn't work. This mind does not seek the truth. It seeks the confirmation of what it already believes to be true. The cup is so full of past facts that there is no room for a new possibility. It is the mind of the expert, who is often the blindest of all. The stone of the past, the I am like this. This stone is made of the hardened cement of our personal history. They are the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, the labels we have accepted as our fixed, immutable identity. I am shy. I am not a creative person. I am not good with money. I have always had bad luck in love. When we cling to these stories, When we repeat them to ourselves and to others, we fill our cup with the past, preventing any different future from entering. The story of I am like this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the universe, as a mirror, can only reflect the identity we declare ourselves to be. The stone of control, the it has to be this way. Finally, there is the stone of rigid expectation. It is the mind that not only has a clear desire, but has decided with an engineer's precision exactly how, when, and through whom it should manifest. It tries to impose its limited script on the director of the universe. Any opportunity, solution, or ally that does not fit its preconceived plan is discarded, ignored, or sabotaged. This mind, in its attempt to control creation to feel safe, blinds itself to the magic, synchronicity, and infinite creativity of the cosmos. It is the film director who is so obsessed with his own script that he doesn't notice the brilliant improvisation his actors are offering him. These three stones, certainty, history, and control, fill our cup to the brim, turning us into a closed system, unable to receive the rain of blessings that the universe longs to pour upon us every instant. The first practice, the art of not knowing, the beginner's mind discipline. To dissolve the stone of certainty, you practice the art of not knowing. You become a devout practitioner of what Zen masters call shoshin, or the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is empty. It has no preconceptions. It is full of curiosity and wonder. It approaches every day, every conversation, every new piece of information, not from the position of the expert who already has all the answers, but from the position of the curious student who is open to surprise, to miracle, to the possibility of being wrong. The not knowing protocol. Adopt the mantra. Make the question your own. What if everything I think I know about this is wrong or incomplete? Use it as a mental solvent. Apply it to your political opinions, your beliefs about health, your ideas about your own limitations. Practice empty listening. In your next conversation, try to listen without the filter of your own response. Instead of formulating your rebuttal while the other person speaks, simply empty yourself and receive their words. Try to understand their world instead of defending your own. Perform a don't know day. For an entire day, commit to letting go of the need to have an opinion on everything. When a topic comes up, instead of declaring your certainty, simply observe with curiosity. This simple practice creates fissures in the rock of your certainty, allowing new light to enter. It frees you from the exhausting burden of having to always be right and opens you to the possibility of discovering a greater, more liberating truth. At the second practice, the dissolution of identity, the I am not meditation. To dissolve the stone of the past, the story of I am like this, you practice the dissolution of identity. This is a deep via negativa meditation, the liberation protocol. You sit in silence. You close your eyes. And you begin a mantra of negation, not to annihilate yourself, but to find yourself. With every exhale, you let go of a label. I am not my job. I am not my achievements. I am not my failures. Feel how those heavy garments fall to the floor. I am not my history. I am not the traumas of my past. I am not my parents' opinions. Feel how the chains of the past dissolve. I am not this body. I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. You continue this process of de-identification, letting go of every label your ego clings to for definition. And what remains when you have let go of everything you are not? A space remains. A silent, empty, pure consciousness remains. The sky remains, not the clouds. In that silence, you realize that you are not the story. You are the consciousness that is aware of the story. And as consciousness, you are free. And the third practice, the surrender of control, the miraculous clause. Finally, to dissolve the stone of control, you practice intelligent surrender. After setting your intention, after drawing your blueprint in your inner eye, after charging it with your emotion, you perform the final act of release. You add the clause that changes everything. I accept this or something better for my highest good and the good of all involved. This is not an act of doubt. It is an act of humility and supreme wisdom. It is the acknowledgement that your vision, however magnificent, is limited, and that universal intelligence with its cosmic perspective may have an even grander, more perfect plan for you. By letting go of your attachment to the how, the when, and the exact form, you give the universe the freedom to orchestrate miracles on your behalf, to surprise you with gifts that your limited mind had not even dared to ask for. The fourth practice, the question to the void, the oracle of silence. You do not empty yourself for the sake of being empty. You empty yourself to be filled by a higher intelligence. Once you have cultivated the state of void through the previous practices, you perform the purest act of reception. In your meditation, after having emptied yourself of your certainties, your history and your control, you remain in that fertile silence, and in that silence you gently launch a question, without expectation. What is my next inspired step? What do I need to understand about this situation? Show me the way. And then you do not look for the answer. You do not think. You do not analyze. You simply remain in the void, in a state of total listening with your whole being. The answer will not arrive as a logical thought. It will arrive as an intuitive whisper, as an image that floats in your mind, as a serene knowing that emerges from nowhere, or as a sensation of peace that floods you. You have learned to stop shouting your plans at the universe and to start listening to its secrets. Chapter 5. The Power of Unique Focus, the Seed that Becomes a Forest. We are taught to juggle a dozen projects, chase 20 goals, and divide our attention in 100 directions. We are applauded for being busy, for having many irons in the fire, and in doing so without realizing it, we condemn ourselves to powerlessness disguised as activity. The untrained mind is like an inexperienced and enthusiastic general. He possesses an army of immense power, his attention energy, but instead of consolidating his forces to win the most important battle, the one that would ensure victory in the war, he disperses his troops on a dozen fronts at once. A little energy for the improve health platoon, a little for the earn more money division, a little for the find love unit, a little for the learn a new language squadron. The result is that each platoon of his energetic army is weak, ill-equipped, demoralized, and easily defeated by the well-entrenched resistance of old programming and current circumstances. The general is incredibly busy, running from one battle to another, but he wins no wars. At the end of the day, he feels exhausted and frustrated, looking at the map of his life and not understanding why, despite his many desires and his immense effort, his territory has not expanded. The problem is the dilution of power. Your creative power, your attention, is a relatively finite amount at any given moment. By dividing it among 10 goals, you are giving each one only 10% of your strength, and 10% of your power is not enough to deeply impress your subconscious. It is not enough to create an electromagnetic signal coherent enough to organize the quantum field. It's like trying to water 10 thirsty plants with a single glass of water. The result is not 10 healthy plants, but 10 dying plants. Or the physics of focus, the power of the magnifying glass. The initiate in this knowledge understands a fundamental truth of physics, one he observed as a child on a sunny day. Imagine that your consciousness energy is like the sunlight bathing a field on a summer noon. It is a vast, omnipresent but diffuse energy. It gently warms the earth, nourishes life, but lacks the power to initiate a radical transformation, to light a fire. An intention, a desire, is like a magnifying glass. When you take all the scattered rays of your consciousness and focus them through the magnifying glass of a single desire onto a single precise point, something miraculous happens. The energy previously diffused concentrates, intensifies, and becomes coherent. That point becomes incandescent, begins to smoke, and finally, with sustained focus, bursts into flame. You have created fire from sunlight. You have created a tangible manifestation from the invisible energy of consciousness. That is focus. That is manifestation. The law of unique focus doesn't ask you to give up your other desires forever. It asks you to postpone them strategically. It asks for the wisdom of a general who knows that to win the war he must first win the most strategic battle, the one that will cut the enemy's supply lines and demoralize its troops. You choose your main objective, your master seed. You consolidate all your forces, your power of visualization, your emotional power, your power of repetition, your power of action, and direct a massive, focused assault on that single objective, ignoring the minor skirmishes for a time. Once you have achieved that first great manifestation, two transformative things happen. Your faith in the law and in yourself becomes unshakable. You have moved from intellectual belief to the certainty of experience. Now you know you are a creator. You have created massive momentum. From the position of power of your first success, from the top of the first mountain conquered, manifesting the next desires becomes exponentially easier. The seed that becomes a forest does not do so by magic. It does so because for a time, all the energy of the earth, all the sun, all the water, was concentrated on nourishing a single small sprout until it became strong and unstoppable. The first practice, the art of choice, the clarification of the primordial desire. To be able to focus your power, you must first know where to aim. The first act of the conscious creator is clarification. You must choose your objective. You take your journal, and you make an honest and courageous inventory of your desires. You write down all the goals, all the longings that are competing for your attention. And then, for each one, you ask yourself the strategist's question, the key question. If I could only achieve one of these things in the next 6 to 12 months, which one of them would make all the others easier or irrelevant? This is not an easy question. It requires brutal honesty. It forces you to differentiate between the whims of your ego and the true calls of your soul. Another powerful question is, what desire, if I achieve it, will turn me into the person I need to be to manifest everything else with ease? Often the right goal is not an external goal, money, but an internal growth one, unshakable confidence, which then produces the money as a natural side effect. You meditate on these questions. You feel each option in your body, and finally you choose. You choose your master seed. And once you have chosen it, you write it at the top of a new page in your journal, with absolute clarity and specificity. This is now your single objective. All other desires become secondary support or are placed on a wait list. The second practice, the monastic vow, the sacred no. Once the objective has been chosen, the creator must consolidate his troops. He must protect his energy from leaks. His practice is that of the monastic vow. He makes a sacred vow to himself. For a set period, 90 days, 6 months, a year. He commits to dedicating 90% of his creative energy, his practice time, and his focus to this single objective. This means he must have the courage to say no. It is the sacred no to distraction. He says no to the new, brilliant business ideas that will inevitably appear to tempt him. He writes them down on a maybe later list with gratitude and returns to his main objective. He says no to requests for his time and energy that do not align with his mission, learning to set boundaries with love but firmly. He says no to distractions and hobbies that drain his power of focus and do not nourish his soul. This vow is not an act of deprivation. It is an act of power and self-respect. It is the declaration that your vision is so important that you are willing to sacrifice the good for the excellent. The third practice, total immersion, the reality bubble. Finally, the creator knows that for his subconscious to accept a new reality, he must immerse himself in it until it becomes more real than his outer world. His practice is that of total immersion. He surrounds himself with the frequency of his objective. Environmental immersion. His environment becomes an altar for his vision. If his goal is to write a book, his desk is impeccable. His writing tools are ready. Perhaps he has a picture of his favorite author in sight. Informational immersion. The books he reads, the podcasts he listens to, the videos he watches, the conversations he participates in. Everything is deliberately chosen to nurture his objective, to give him new ideas, to keep him inspired and in the right frequency. He becomes a world expert in his vision. Imaginative immersion, and most importantly, all the power of his inner workshop, his scientific prayer, his nightly projection, his subconscious lullaby, is now focused like a laser on imprinting the reality of this single desire into the depths of his being. He creates a reality bubble in which his goal is not a future objective. It is the single and dominant reality of his present. The fourth practice, the creator's cycle, focused action. Focus cannot be maintained linearly for endless hours. That leads to burnout. The master of focus works in cycles, alternating periods of total immersion with periods of rest and recharge. The Creator's Cycle Protocol. Choose your investment. At the start of your day, you choose the single most important task that moves you closer to your unique objective. The sprint, 90 minutes. You set a 90-minute timer. During this time, you completely immerse yourself in the task. No phone, no email, no distractions. It is a sprint of total focus. The conscious rest, 20-30 minutes. When the timer goes off, you stop, and you completely step away from the task. You go for a walk, meditate, listen to music, do nothing. You allow your conscious mind to rest, so that your subconscious mind can integrate and work in the background. Repeat. You can perform 2 to 3 of these cycles in a day. This method allows you to achieve a state of deep, high-performance work sustainably without burning out. The law of unique focus has been revealed to you. You are no longer a general who disperses his forces in 1,000 lost battles. You are a master strategist who consolidates his power, chooses his decisive battle, and advances with the irresistible force of a unified mind. Chapter 6. The Divine Flow, on allowing life to be written through you. The conscious creator, in his early stages, operates from the identity of the director. He chooses the vision, focuses the intention, moves the pieces on the quantum chessboard. It is a state of immense power, a quantum leap beyond victim consciousness, but it still involves a degree of effort, control, and subtle separation. A me who directs and a universe that is directed still exists. And this state, while effective, can be exhausting. It is the burden of total responsibility, the constant pressure of having to do everything right, to maintain focus, to sustain the vibration. It is the loneliness of the director who carries the weight of the entire production on his shoulders. The 33rd degree knowledge, the final wisdom of this codex, invites you to take one step further. It invites you to let go of even the prestigious role of the director. It invites you to abdicate the throne of the doer to become something infinitely more powerful, more relaxed, and more effective. The channel. Tarsuak, the philosophy of the channel, the secret of the bamboo flute. Imagine a bamboo flute perfectly carved and polished. By itself, it cannot create music. It is a simple hollow tube, silent, empty. But when the musician's breath flows through it, it becomes a channel for the most beautiful melody. Its power does not reside in what it does or in the effort it makes, but in how hollow, how clean, and how open it is to allow the music to flow without obstruction. You are that flute. And the universal intelligence, the mind of God, the Tao, is the musician. Your greatest works, your most brilliant ideas, your most perfect and synchronized actions are not born of you. They are born through you. They are the breath of the universe taking form in the unique expression of your instrument. The initiate, in this secret, stops trying to be the origin of creation and focuses with total devotion on becoming the purest channel for it. His work is no longer to create, but to allow. His practice is no longer effort, but emptying. The expanded allegory of the scribe's pen in an ancient library lost among the sands of time lived a scribe named Kale. Kale was no ordinary scribe. He was the most disciplined, most erudite, and most ambitious of his order. His dream, the obsession that consumed his days and nights, was to write the most perfect story ever told, one that would reveal the secrets of the cosmos. Every day, he sat before an immaculate parchment. His mind, a vast archive of philosophy, science, and poetry, buzzed with grandiose ideas, complex structures, and eloquent phrases, but his hand holding the pen often remained paralyzed by the weight of his own ambition, by the terrible fear of not being good enough, of not doing justice to the story he longed to tell. He forced the words, struggled with the syntax, built sentences like an engineer builds a bridge with logic and effort. He erased them, frustrated, staining the parchment. His efforts, after weeks of fruitless struggle, produced texts that were technically correct, impeccable in their grammar, but dead. They lacked soul, the spark of the divine. They were the work of an artisan, not an artist. One night, after a particularly arduous day of unsuccessful struggle, Kyle broke. Exhaustion finally defeated his iron will. He dropped the pen on the stained parchment and whispered into the silence of the moonlit library, "I can't. I have failed. All my wisdom and all my effort are not enough. I surrender. If there is a story that needs to be told, let it be told through me, because I, Kyle, no longer have the strength to write it. And in that act of total surrender, of complete emptying of his director ego, he fell soundly asleep at his desk. He did not dream, or rather his entire being became a dream. His consciousness dissolved into the silence of the library, into the moonlight, into the wisdom of the thousands of books that surrounded him. Awakening with the first light of dawn, feeling the sun on his face, he sat up with a backache but with a strange sense of peace. And then he looked down. The parchment before him, which the night before had been stained with failures, was now filled with exquisite, fluid, perfect calligraphy. It was his handwriting, but at the same time it wasn't. It was more elegant, more confident. With a pounding heart he began to read. The words did not tell a story, they sang one. They narrated an epic of the soul, a truth so profound, so simple, and so beautiful that tears streamed down his face. It was not the story he had tried to write. It was the story he had longed to read. His hand, while his ego slept the sleep of surrender, had moved, guided by an invisible force, by the breath of the universe. He had become the pen, and the cosmos had been the scribe. This is the essence of divine flow. It is the art of letting go of the ego's pen and allowing the universe's hand to write the magnificent and unexpected story of your life. The first practice, the art of emptying, the ritual of the fertile void. To be a pure channel, you must first be empty. The universe cannot pour its wisdom into a cup that is already filled to the brim with your ego's opinions, plans, agendas, and anxieties. Your most fundamental practice, therefore, is conscious emptying. The morning emptying protocol. Every morning, before your intention practice, before deciding what song you want to sing, you dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to becoming silence. The written release. You sit with your journal and, for 5 minutes, perform a mental dump. You write uncensored everything that fills your cup, your worries, your to-do list, your frustrations. It's not to analyze them, it's to get them out of your system and onto the paper. When you finish, you close the journal with the intention, I leave this here for now. I choose the void. Meditation is listening. Now you sit in silence. Your meditation practice changes its purpose once more. You no longer sit to concentrate, the practice of focus, or to feel, the practice of calibration. You sit to empty yourself. You let go of your plans for the day. You let go of your worries about yesterday and tomorrow. You let go of your identity, your roles, your name. You become a space, a vast, silent, and expectant space, and in that silence you simply listen, without expecting anything in particular. You are creating the hollow, the fertile void, through which the breath of the universe can begin to flow. The second practice, the art of following the impulse, divine obedience. Inspiration from the divine flow does not arrive as a 10-step plan or a complete business strategy. It arrives as a whisper, as a small illogical impulse, as a golden thread hanging from the sky, inviting you to pull on it without knowing where it leads. The sudden idea to call an old friend. The inexplicable urge to go to a particular bookstore or take a different street. The sudden curiosity to research a topic seemingly unrelated to your goals. The ego's logical mind, the director, often dismisses these impulses as distractions, nonsense, or unproductive procrastination. The initiate in the divine flow knows that these are the golden threads with which the universe weaves its tapestry of synchronicity. They are the first notes of the symphony. Your practice is obedience to intuition. When you receive one of these impulses, you subject it to the somatic compass test. Does it feel light and expansive? If the answer is yes, you act on it. Immediately, if possible. Without knowing why. Without needing a complete map. You trust the first step. Often, it is the obedience to that small, illogical impulse, calling that friend, that puts you in the exact place at the exact time. For the great synchronicity, that friend mentions the opportunity of a lifetime to occur. The third practice, the art of joyful work, the compass of resonance. The ego works from effort, discipline, and tension. Its fuel is willpower. The soul, when in flow, works from joy. Its fuel is inspiration. Your compass for knowing if you are acting as a channel or as an ego is the feeling that accompanies the action. If your work feels heavy, forced, like a constant struggle as if you are pushing a river, it is a sign that you are operating from the ego, rowing against the current. If your work feels light, energizing, if you lose track of time while doing it, if ideas flow effortlessly, it is the unmistakable sign that you are in the divine flow. Your practice is recalibration through joy. Constantly throughout your workday you pause and ask, where is the joy? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of this feels like play and how much like obligation? If the answer is low, you don't give up. You simply recalibrate. You ask, what small adjustment can I make to make this task feel more like a game? Perhaps it is putting on music, changing the environment, taking a short break, or most importantly, surrendering the problem to universal intelligence and asking for a new perspective. By following the compass of joy, you remain aligned with the channel of flow. The fourth practice, the art of reception, honoring the transmission. When a brilliant idea, a solution to a problem or a perfect line of poetry comes to you from the flow, the ego has an immediate instinct to appropriate it. What a great idea I had. I'm a genius. This act of claiming authorship, though it seems natural, can begin to close the channel. It's as if the flute took pride in the music and forgot the musician. The master's final practice is the art of humble reception. When you receive one of these downloads of inspiration, you pause. Hands silently or aloud you say thank you. It is not a thank you to yourself. It is an acknowledgement of the source of universal intelligence for having chosen you as its channel in that moment. This simple act of gratitude and humility keeps you in your proper place. It reminds you that you are not the origin, but the vehicle. And by honoring the source of the transmission, you ensure that the channel remains open, clean, and ready to receive even more. Chapter 7. The Magnet of Gratitude. We have been conditioned to understand gratitude as a social virtue, as a polite, almost mechanical reaction. It is the thank you we say after receiving a gift. It is the blessing we give for food once it is on the table. In this paradigm, gratitude is the effect of an external cause. It is the celebration that takes place once the harvest is safe in the barn. It is the gratitude of the beggar, thankful for the coin he has received. But the forbidden knowledge, the wisdom of the great masters of reality, inverts this law with a force that changes everything. It reveals to us that gratitude, in its highest and most creative form, is not an effect. It is the most potent cause of all. You do not feel grateful because the universe has given you something. The universe gives you something because you have dared, with a sovereign faith, to feel grateful first. Creative gratitude is the art and science of being grateful for your wish fulfilled before it manifests in the world of the senses. It is the clearest, most potent and most unequivocal signal you can send to your subconscious mind and the quantum field. It is the telegram that arrives before the package and that tells the universe with an unshakable certainty, order received and completed on the plane of consciousness. Proceed with materialization. Most of us pray from a place of lack. We ask, we beg, we long. Each of these actions, no matter how sincere, is born from the underlying vibrational feeling of not having. And since the universe is a perfect mirror that reflects our state of being, not our words, our prayer of lack can only manifest more lack. Gratitude inverts this equation radically. When you feel genuine gratitude for something, it is psychologically, neurologically, and vibrationally impossible to feel that you are lacking it. Gratitude is the vibrational signature of wholeness. It is the emotion of reception. By deliberately generating this feeling, you are assuming the state of being of your wish already fulfilled. And this and only this is the language that your subconscious understands and obeys without exception. The physics of gratitude, the science of the magnet, the power of gratitude is not a simple inspiring idea. It is a biochemical and biophysical fact. It is the engineering of creation in its most elegant form. The vibrational signature of fulfillment. Your state of being is a frequency, and the universe as a resonance field gives you back a reflection of that frequency. The feeling of gratitude is the vibrational signature of wholeness. It is the energetic declaration, sung at the top of your lungs, that I already have, that I already am, that I am complete. It is impossible to feel genuine gratitude and a feeling of lack at the same time. They are mutually exclusive frequencies like light and darkness. Therefore, gratitude is the perfect antidote to the scarcity mindset. It is the ultimate short circuit for the vibration of doubt and fear. By embodying the frequency of gratitude, you become a vibrating tuning fork that is perfectly tuned to the reality of your wish fulfilled. And by the law of resonance, that reality which already exists as a potentiality in the quantum field must be magnetically attracted into your experience. Gratitude is not asking the universe to send you something. It is tuning your radio to the station that is already broadcasting the music you want to hear. The irrefutable command to the subconscious. Gratitude is the most powerful command for your inner giant. The subconscious, as we have seen, responds to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the builder who needs a finalized and sealed blueprint to begin work. When you feel gratitude for your healing, for your prosperity, or for your ideal relationship, as if they were already a tangible fact, you are giving your subconscious a final, irrefutable command. You are moving your desire from the wish list to the inventory list. You are declaring that on the only plane that truly matters, the plane of consciousness, the transaction is already completed. And your subconscious, that literal and infinitely powerful servant, upon receiving this command charged with the absolute certainty of gratitude, has no choice but to accept this new truth as its new directive. And it will begin working tirelessly, day and night, so that the world of shadows, the world of effects, aligns with this new inner reality, the biochemistry of receptivity. On a biological level, gratitude is the switch that changes your body from survival mode to creation and reception mode. A state of stress or fear floods your body with cortisol, which puts you in a state of defense, of contraction. Your cells close up, conserving energy to fight or flee. In this state, it is biologically impossible to receive, heal, or create something new. A state of genuine gratitude, on the other hand, floods your body with a biochemical cocktail of creation: dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Your heart enters a state of high coherence, and this state sends a signal to every one of your cells: we are safe. It's time to grow. It's time to repair. It's time to open and receive. Gratitude, literally, opens the biological floodgates of your being so that you can receive the gifts of the universe. The first practice, the wealth audit, the daily harvest. To cultivate gratitude, you must first retrain your mind, conditioned by the culture of lack, to see the wealth you already possess, which often lies invisible before your eyes. Your practice is that of the daily audit of your assets, the treasure hunter's protocol. Every night, without exception, as the last sacred act before sleep, you take your journal, and you become a treasure hunter of your own day. You look with deliberate attention for 3 to 5 specific blessings or gains of the day for which you feel genuinely grateful. The key, as always, is specificity, because it is in the detail that the emotion resides. You don't write "my family." You write, "I am grateful for the way the sunlight came through the window this morning and illuminated the dancing dust motes, reminding me of the magic of the present moment." For each point you write, close your eyes for 60 seconds. Relive the moment. Feel the gratitude in your body, in your heart, until a smile forms on your face. In doing this, you rewire your brain. You train your reticular activation system to become an expert at finding wealth instead of lack. And, most importantly, you fall asleep in the vibration of wholeness, allowing your subconscious mind to marinate in that high frequency all night long. The second practice, the gratitude burst, the frequency intervention. To change a state of negativity immediately, in the midst of the day's chaos, you use a high-potency tool, a vibrational emergency intervention. The gratitude burst protocol is simple, explosive, and radically effective. Acknowledge and retreat. The moment you feel overwhelmed by worry, frustration, or fear, retreat, even mentally, for 3 to 5 minutes. Set a timer. Start the whirlwind. During that time, non-stop, without censorship, you verbalize aloud if you can, or write down everything you are or could be grateful for as fast as you can. Thank you for this roof. Thank you for my hands that work. Thank you for this challenge because I know it is making me stronger. Thank you for the air I breathe. Thank you for the water I drink. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the memory of that laugh. Thank you for the lesson I'm learning even though it hurts. The goal is not eloquence, but momentum and speed. It is to create a whirlwind, a vortex of high-frequency energy that forcefully short-circuits negative thought patterns. It is impossible for your brain to maintain two intense, opposing emotional states at the same time. The energy of gratitude generated with this intensity literally expels the lower frequency energy of fear. The third practice, anticipatory gratitude, the future harvest. Finally, we come to the most advanced, potent, and magical strategy, the art of giving thanks for the prayer already answered. The mastery of anticipatory gratitude, the master's signature. In your scientific prayer, in your nightly imprinting ritual, you do not ask. You give thanks. You connect with the image and, more importantly, with the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. You use the techniques from previous chapters to embody that reality within you. And from that state of being, from inside the already manifested reality, you formulate your prayer not as a request, but as a thank you. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for the resounding success and joyful service of this project. Thank you for the perfect health and radiant vitality that are already my reality in every cell of my body. Thank you for the abundance that flows freely into my life in expected and unexpected ways, allowing me to live and give with expansive joy. This act is the most powerful declaration of faith there is. It is the final signature on the contract with the universe. It is the unequivocal signal that tells your subconscious, this is not a possibility. It is an accomplished fact. Manifest it. Anticipatory gratitude is the bridge that unites the now with the future. It is the act of living, feeling, and giving thanks for your new reality before your five senses can perceive it. The fourth practice, alchemical gratitude, blessing the obstacle. The final test of mastery is the ability to feel gratitude, not just for the good, but also for the challenges. When you face an obstacle, a closed door, resist the urge to complain, and instead ask the alchemist's question, what is the hidden gift here? And you begin to give thanks for it, even before you see it. Thank you for this challenge, because I know it is making me stronger. Thank you for this closed door, because I know you are protecting me from a path that was not for me and redirecting me to a better one. This act of alchemical gratitude transmutes the energy of the obstacle, turning it from a wall into a stepping stone. The magnet of gratitude has been revealed to you. It is the frequency of reception. It is the chemistry of healing. It is the most powerful command for your inner giant, the subconscious. Chapter 8. The Clock Without Hands. On trusting divine timing. We have built a world that has conditioned us to expect immediate results. We order food and it arrives in minutes. We send a message and expect a response in seconds. We start a series and can binge-watch it in a single day. This culture of immediacy, this microwave tyranny, has created in us a deep intolerance for the process, an allergy to waiting, and we have transferred this impatient expectation to the sacred realm of conscious creation. When we plant the seed of our intention in the garden of the universe, the ego, our spoiled inner child, conditioned by this culture, stands before the earth the next day with its arms crossed and asks with growing anxiety, where is it? Why hasn't it arrived yet? This impatience is not a simple sign of immaturity. It is a form of doubt. It is a vibrational declaration of distrust in the law of creation. It is the sacrilegious act of digging up the seed every day to see if it is germinating, an act that inevitably kills the germination process by exposing the delicate root to light and air for which it is not yet prepared. The secret knowledge teaches us that the universe does not operate on the ego's timeline, which is linear, anxious, and impatient. It operates on divine time, on kairos time, which is cyclical, organic, and always perfect. And in divine time, every creation, from a galaxy to a blade of grass, has its own sacred gestation period. The sacred gestation, the universe's invisible workshop. Imagine a farmer who plants an acorn. He does not expect to see a majestic tree the next day. He does not doubt the seed or the earth. He knows with an ancestral wisdom that he has initiated a process that for weeks or months will be completely invisible. Under the earth, in the silent and fertile darkness, the seed is working. It is performing a miracle of astonishing complexity. It is breaking its protective shell, extending its first delicate roots in search of anchorage and nutrients. An alchemical dance is taking place, completely hidden from view. Your manifestations follow the exact same law. The moment you emit your coherent signal, the moment you plant the seed of your desire in the quantum field, gestation begins immediately. The universe, in its invisible workshop, gets to work for you with a precision and an intelligence that your logical mind cannot even begin to conceive of. Energy is reorganized. The quantum field, that ocean of potentiality, begins to organize energy and information to correspond with the new blueprint you have emitted. It's as if a divine architect began to draw the new blueprints of your reality on the energetic plane. Events are orchestrated. An intricate bridge of incidents begins to be woven. The universe, like a master chess player, starts to move thousands of pieces on the board of life. The right people are subtly moved in your direction. The right conversations are orchestrated. Opportunities are prepared. The doors you need to open in the future begin to unlock now on the invisible plane. The ground is prepared. You. Often, the most important delay is the work the universe needs to do on you. It presents you with the lessons, challenges, and synchronicities you need to heal your wounds, dissolve your limiting beliefs, develop your strength of character, and ultimately become the person who is capable of holding the manifestation once it arrives. This apparent delay is the greatest act of love and wisdom of the universe. All this work occurs in the darkness, beneath the surface of your perceptible reality. The period of waiting is not an empty time. It is the time of most intense work. The patience as active faith, the farmer's discipline. With this understanding, patience is transformed. It ceases to be a passive waiting, anxious and full of powerlessness, and becomes an active faith, serene and full of power. Passive waiting is that of the prisoner. He looks at the clock, counts the days, feels powerless. His vibration is one of lack and doubt. Active patience is that of the farmer. He does not sit waiting for the harvest with anxiety. He trusts in the immutable law of germination. And his work, during the period of invisibility, is to tend the soil. He protects the seed from weeds, thoughts of doubt and fear. He waters the earth with the water of his faith, deliberately maintaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He trusts in the sun and rain, the perfect intelligence and timing of the universe. Patience, therefore, is your final test of alignment. After you've done all your inner work, the universe asks you one last question. Do you really believe in the seed you have planted? Can you maintain faith in the invisible, even when the visible around you seems to contradict it? Can you trust me? Your ability to remain in a state of calm, confidence, and joyful expectation during this gestation period is the most potent signal you can send to the universe. It is the final demonstration that your faith is real. The first practice, the mental diet, protecting the seed from weeds. To protect the delicate seed in the darkness of the earth, the gardener must be vigilant and pull out the weeds of doubt the instant they appear. His practice is that of a strict and sovereign mental diet. It is the art of refusing to entertain any thought, conversation, or feeling that contradicts the truth of your wish already fulfilled. The guardian at the gate. When a thought of doubt, fear, or impatience tries to enter, you do not fight it. You simply, with a sovereign calm, recognize it as an echo of the past or a virus of the old system. You thank it for trying to protect you in its own way, and then you deny it entry. You withdraw your attention from it and deliberately return it to the feeling of your wish already fulfilled, the counter-decree. You use the tool of the counter-decree. Doubt whispers, you see no proof. This isn't working. You, with an inner calm, respond with the new law. Divine timing is perfect. Everything is unfolding in a perfect sequence for my highest good. My faith is the only proof I need. It is a serene reaffirmation of the truth. The evidence fast. For a time, you practice the art of not looking for external proof. That search is born of need and doubt. Instead, you find the evidence within you, in the peace you feel, in the clarity of your vision, in the strength of your faith. The second practice, the art of handover, sovereign delegation. The wise gardener knows that his job is to plant, water, and protect. It is not his job to force the chemistry of germination or to control the weather. His practice is the art of handing over the process to a higher intelligence. The act of delegation. You take your desire, your worry about the logistics, the details, the timing. In your imagination, you write it on a sacred scroll or place it in a golden box. The ceremonial handover. With a feeling of deep relief and trust, you visualize yourself handing this scroll or box to universal intelligence. The decree of trust. You say, aloud or in your heart, "This is yours now. I hand over the how and the when. I fully trust in your wisdom, your power, and your perfect timing. I declare that my only job from this moment on is to maintain my faith and the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Yours is to orchestrate all the details. Thank you, because I know it is already done." This act of handover is the formal entrance into the mental Sabbath. It is the declaration that you are no longer the micromanager of your manifestation. You have ascended to your true position, that of visionary and sustainer of faith. The third practice, conscious occupation, the art of joyful forgetting. An idle mind is the workshop of doubt. The wise gardener, once he has done his work, occupies himself with tending the other flowers in his garden. The practice is that of conscious occupation. Once you have planted the seed in your imagination, once you have handed over the process, the most effective way not to interfere is to forget about it. Not with a forced, anxious forgetting, but by occupying your conscious mind with the wholeness and joy of the present moment. Immerse yourself in your work. Give yourself to your daily work with presence and excellence. Enjoy a hobby. Lose track of time in an activity you are passionate about. Serve others. The fastest way to get out of self-obsession is to help someone with their challenges. Find joy now. Do not postpone your happiness. Make your current life such a joyful and whole place that you do not need your manifestation to arrive to be happy. This lack of need is the most magnetic frequency of all. By keeping your conscious mind occupied, you allow your subconscious mind and universal intelligence to work on your future in the background, undisturbed. Manifestation often arrives like a thief in the night. At the moment, you have completely let go of your attachment to the outcome. The fourth practice, the art of recognizing the sprout. After a period of blind faith, of not looking for proof, the moment comes to open your eyes and recognize the universe's answer. When the first sprout emerges, the gardener does not ignore it. He celebrates it. The deliberate search. After a time of handover, you dedicate a day to becoming a synchronicity hunter. You actively look for the small proofs that the universe is working, the repeated number, the conversation overheard, the small opportunity, the grateful celebration. When you find one of these signals, a sprout, you do not grow impatient asking for the tree. You pause, and you celebrate it with immense gratitude. "Ah, the sprout! Thank you! I knew you were there." This act of acknowledgement and gratitude is like throwing a special fertilizer on the young plant. You give it energy. You tell the universe, "I have received your signal. I trust. I'm still here. The test of patience has been passed." You have learned not only to plant the seed of your desire, but to be the wise and confident guardian of its gestation. You are no longer a prisoner of the ego's anxious clock. You are a partner of divine time, who rests in the unshakable certainty that every harvest by law arrives in its perfect season. Chapter 9. The Channel of Synchronicity, Meaningful Coincidences. The untrained mind, trapped in a materialistic random view of the world, lives in a universe of coincidences. It sees the events of its life as isolated, unconnected and meaningless phenomena. If it thinks of a song and 5 minutes later hears it on the radio, it calls it a curious coincidence. If it meets the right person who can help with its project at the perfect moment, it calls it a stroke of good luck. It marvels for an instant, smiles at the strangeness of the event, and then forgets, blind to the pattern, deaf to the language, lost in a world it perceives as meaningless white noise. The initiate in the frequency of the cosmos knows the deeper truth. He knows that coincidences do not exist. Only resonance made visible exists. The great psychiatrist Carl Jung, one of the bravest explorers of consciousness, coined the term synchronicity to describe this phenomenon. He defined it as a principle of a causal connection. Two or more events that are connected in a meaningful way, not by a visible linear cause and effect relationship, but by the shared meaning they have for the observer. From the quantum perspective we have been exploring, the explanation is even deeper and more powerful. Synchronicity is not a simple, meaningful coincidence. It is the tangible evidence, the first observable feedback, that the quantum field is reorganizing in response to your new vibration. When you change your inner state, when you emit a new coherent signal to the ocean of potentiality, that signal, like a stone thrown into a calm pond, creates ripples that expand in all directions. And synchronicity is the first of those ripples that returns to the shore of your perception. It is the first echo that the universe gives you back, an acknowledgement that confirms your new transmission is being received with clarity and that the vast, invisible machinery of creation has been set in motion to orchestrate your new reality. A synchronicity is not an external magical event that happens to you. It is the manifestation of your own energy, reflected in the mirror of the world. It is the universe winking at you. The grammar of the universe, types of synchronicity. To stop being illiterate in this cosmic dialogue, you must learn the grammar of the universe. The universe communicates through a subtle grammar of symbols, encounters, and events. To become a fluent translator, you must learn to recognize its three main types of messages and the synchronicity of confirmation. The cosmos's wink. These are often the first and most subtle signals to appear after you have set a new intention or achieved a new level of coherence. They are small winks from the cosmos, designed to strengthen your muscle of faith during the period of invisible gestation and to let you know that your order has been received. They are the cosmic received. Repeating numbers. Suddenly you start seeing sequences of numbers 1111, 222, 333, 444 everywhere. Do not obsess over looking for an esoteric dictionary. Simply understand these sequences as a simple thumbs up from universal intelligence. A received, we're on it. Keep vibrating this way. Personal symbols. You start to find objects or see images that have a special, personal meaning for you. It could be a feather on your path when asking for a sign of lightness and freedom, a butterfly that lands near you when thinking about transformation, or the recurring image of a lion when cultivating courage. These are totems that the universe presents to you to remind you of the quality you are embodying. Auditory confirmation. You think of a question, and the first song that plays on the radio contains the exact answer in its lyrics. Or you walk down the street deep in doubt, and you hear two strangers say the precise phrase you needed to hear. It is the universe using the world as its loudspeaker. These signals are not the manifestation itself. They are the appetizer. They are the trailer for the movie. They are the universe's way of telling you, trust. Keep maintaining faith in the invisible. The process is underway. The synchronicity of guidance, the breadcrumbs on the path. These signals are more active, more direct. They don't just confirm you're on the right track. They show you the next tangible step. They are like the breadcrumbs that the universe leaves to guide you through the forest of life to your destination. They are the soul's GPS. Guidance through others. The universe often conspires through other people. A friend, out of the blue, mentions a book that contains the exact information you need. You meet someone who is an expert in the specific field you need help with. Your mother forwards an email with a perfect opportunity for you. Guidance through information. You casually come across an article, a YouTube video or a podcast that answers the exact question you had asked yourself that same morning. It is modern bibliomancy, the art of finding guidance in seemingly random texts. Guidance through intuitive impulse. You feel an inexplicable impulse to go to a certain place, to take a different route home, to contact an old friend. And by following that illogical impulse, you find the opportunity, the person, or the information you needed. Obstructive guidance. Sometimes guidance comes in the form of a subtle no, an odd, unexpected obstacle. You miss a flight, the computer system crashes just when you were about to sign a contract, you get stuck in traffic. The untrained mind calls it bad luck. The initiate pauses and asks, what is this obstacle protecting me from or redirecting me toward? These are not coincidences. They are the next steps of the divine plan, revealed one by one. The universe doesn't show you the whole map. It only illuminates the next foot of the path. The synchronicity of opportunity, the open door. Finally, as your energy becomes more and more coherent and sustained, synchronicities become more tangible and potent. They cease to be simple clues and winks and turn into doors that open wide right in front of you, often where there was only a wall before. You receive an unexpected job offer that aligns perfectly with the new career you had been visualizing. An opportunity to invest in a project that resonates with your soul appears, and the money for it appears from an unexpected source. The perfect house appears on the market the same day you decide to start looking at a price you can afford. The right person, who seems to be the reflection of the partner you had defined in your heart, sits next to you on a plane. These are not luck. They are the result of the reorganization of material reality to correspond with the coherence and power of your energy field. They are the harvest. They are proof that you have moved from being a simple dreamer to being an architect of reality, a co-creating partner of the cosmos. The first practice, cultivating the receptive state, tuning the receiver. The universe is speaking constantly, but you can only listen when you are tuned to the right frequency. Your first practice is not to seek signs with anxiety, but to cultivate the receptive state, the alpha state. A brain in the stress state of high-frequency beta waves is functionally blind and deaf to synchronicity. The alpha state, in contrast, is the panoramic perception mode, a state of relaxed and open consciousness. Your practice is to take coherence pauses or alpha resets throughout the day. Pause. Every hour or two, take a 3-minute pause. Tune in, close your eyes. Breathe slowly and deeply through your heart. Generate a genuine feeling of gratitude or appreciation. Ask and release. Formulate a silent question. Universe, what do I need to see right now? And then, release the question. Open your eyes. Return to your day with soft eyes, with a relaxed and open perception, curious about what the universe will show you. This simple act is a neurological reset. It pulls you out of beta, survival mode, and puts you into alpha creation and receptivity mode. The second practice, the art of interpretation, the personal dictionary. You have seen a sign. The logical mind wants an external answer, but the universe speaks to you in a deeply personal language. Your personal resonance is the only dictionary that matters. Your practice is not to ask, what does this symbol mean? It is to ask, what does this symbol mean to me? Note the signal. Observe the synchronicity without judgment. Note the context. Ask yourself, what was I thinking or feeling just before this sign appeared? The context is 90% of the message. Feel the resonance. Ask yourself, what is the first thing I feel, the first word or image that comes to mind when I see this? Trust that first intuitive response. The correct interpretation always feels resonant, like an inner click. Look for the invitation. Ask yourself, what simple, positive action does this sign seem to be inviting me to take? The third practice, following the breadcrumbs, the dance of co-creation. Recognizing a sign is the first step. Interpreting it is the second. Having the courage to act on it is the third and most crucial. Every synchronicity is an invitation to action, a breadcrumb on the path to your manifested future. Manifestation rarely occurs as a single great event. It often unfolds as a cascade of synchronicities that require your conscious and brave participation. It is a dance. Imagine a creator, Elena, who has set the intention to launch a new podcast. First signal, she sees the name Ananda in bliss in Sanskrit 3 times. It is a confirmation signal. First action, trust. She searches for Ananda microphones and ends up finding a forum post recommending obscure editing software, praised for its joyful workflow. Second signal, she downloads the software, and a tutorial is done by an expert whose name is Ananda. It is a signal of opportunity. Second action, courage. She emails Ananda, and the expert, impressed by the synchronicity, offers her a consultation. That connection, born of a cascade of synchronicities, becomes the key that launches her project. The quantum creator understands that life is this dance of co-creation. He sends the signal. The universe responds with a breadcrumb. He takes the next inspired step, and the universe shows him the next breadcrumb. The echoes of the void are no longer coincidences. They have become your navigation system, the GPS of your soul, the constant confirmation that you are in dialogue with the cosmos. The fourth practice, the acknowledgement of guidance. Finally, the master of synchronicity completes the circle. He knows that the universe responds to appreciation. At the end of each day in your journal, add a section. Thank you for the signs of the day. Write down the synchronicities you noticed. Thank you for the 11:11 I saw when I doubted. Thank you for the song that gave me the answer. Thank you for putting that person in my path. This act of gratitude tells the universe, I am listening. I appreciate your guidance. And the universe, delighted by your attention, will begin to speak to you more and more often and with greater clarity. Chapter 10. The Master Consciousness. The final secret of the I Am. Throughout this entire journey, so that the logical mind could follow the path, we have maintained a fundamental duality. We have spoken of you and the universe. We have spoken of your consciousness and the universal mind. We have spoken of a creator and a creation. But now, at this 33rd degree of knowledge, in the most intimate sanctuary of truth, we must dissolve the last most subtle and greatest of illusions, the illusion that a separate you exists that is creating its reality. The self you identify with, your name, your story, your memories, your personality, your fears, and your achievements, is not who you truly are. It is a construct. It is a mask, more fundamental than all the others. It is a story you have been telling. It is a set of programs you have been running. And as long as you identify with this small personal self, your power, no matter how great it seems, will always be limited. Because you operate from the fundamental belief in separation. The final revelation, the one that dissolves everything into the light of truth, is this: you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean experiencing itself at the focal point of a drop. Your true identity is not your personality. It is the pure, silent, and unchanging consciousness that is aware of your personality. It is the space in which your thoughts appear. It is the silence that hears your emotions. It is the witness that observes your life. It is the I Am. The I Am, the first and only cause at the heart of all great mystical traditions, from the Upanishads of India that declare Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, to the Hebrew Kabbalah and the revelation given to Moses in the burning bush, lies the same primordial truth expressed in the two most potent words ever spoken, I am. When universal consciousness, God, was asked for its name, the answer was not a proper noun. It was a declaration of existence. I am that I am. I am is not a description. It is a declaration of pure, unconditioned existence. It is the name of God. It is the name of pure consciousness, the formless source, the field of infinite potentiality from which all creation emanates. And that consciousness, that I am, is not outside of you in a distant heaven. It is you. It is not that you have consciousness. It is that you are consciousness. And this consciousness is the only cause, the only power, the only true reality. Everything else, your body, your world, your circumstances, the sun, the moon, and the stars, is an effect, a projection, a modification, a dancing shadow of that one, infinite light that is the I Am. When you say I am your name, you are taking the infinite, formless consciousness of the I Am and limiting it. You are dressing it in the temporary suit of your personality. When you say I am rich, or I am poor, I am healthy, or I am sick, you are not describing an external condition. You are performing the most fundamental act of creation that exists. You are giving a shape, a direction, a command to universal consciousness, to manifest in that way through your focal point of perception. Consciousness folds back on itself to create the experience of what you have declared yourself to be. The initiate in this final knowledge stops identifying with the effect, the drop, the character, the circumstance, and reclaims his true identity as the cause, the ocean, the dreamer, the I Am. This is the most liberating truth. If you are the cause of your universe, then nothing outside of you can affect you, unless you, through your belief and your declaration, give it the power to do so. You become in an instant sovereign. The first practice, the I Am decree, the reclamation of identity. The path is not one of acquiring new techniques, but of embodying this new identity. The Master's practices are not to get something. They are to remember who he is. The first practice is the I Am decree, the protocol of divine assumption. Enter the silence, sit in meditation. Let go of your personal identity. Let go of your story, and simply rest in the sensation of being in the pure consciousness of the I Am, before any label is added to it. Feel that vast, silent, and potent presence that you are. Choose the quality, From this state of pure consciousness, choose the quality you wish to embody. Not the form, but the essence. Wealth, love, health, wisdom, peace. Embody the feeling. Use your imaginative and emotional power to generate in your body the feeling of that quality already embodied. What does wealth feel like? It feels like security, like freedom, like ease. What does health feel like? It feels like vitality, like energy, like flow. Emit the decree, and now fusing the pure consciousness of the I am with the feeling of the quality, you emit the decree. It is not a request. It is a declaration of fact. Do not say, I want to attract wealth. Enter the feeling of security and freedom and declare, with a sovereign calm, I am wealth. Do not say, I want to find love. Enter the feeling of wholeness and connection and declare, I am love. Do not say, I want to heal. Enter the feeling of vitality and perfection and declare, I am perfect health. You are not asking. You are declaring your nature. You are choosing the suit that infinite consciousness, which is you, will wear in that moment on the stage of life. At the second practice, living from the throne, the embodiment of sovereignty, the final practice is embodiment. It is the art of walking through the world, not as the person who tries to manifest something, but as the person who already is that something. You no longer ask, what would a rich person do? You simply act from the consciousness of abundance, because it is who you are. You leave the generous tip. You invest in yourself without guilt. You do not try to act confident. You simply move through the world with the sovereign calm of one who knows he is one with all the power that exists. Your posture changes. Your tone of voice changes. Your gaze changes. Your only practice from now on is one of loving vigilance. You watch your thoughts and moods as a wise king watches his kingdom. And every time you find yourself identifying with the small, limited self of the past, every time you find yourself in a state of lack, fear, or doubt, you do not judge yourself. You do not fight. You simply, with an inner smile, remember who you are, and you return to your throne. You return to the consciousness of the I am. This return is not an effort. It is a relaxation. It is letting go of the false identity and resting in the truth. The third practice, the I am, gaze the end of separation. The final test of your mastery is not how you see yourself, but how you see others. When you interact with another person, you no longer see a separate other. You practice looking beyond their ego, their mask, their personality, and you look for in their eyes the same I am light that shines in you. You recognize that the same single consciousness that animates you animates them. That God is playing all the roles of the drama, the hero and the villain, the wise man and the fool, to experience himself from infinite perspectives. In doing this, judgment becomes impossible, resentment dissolves, and the only thing left is love, which is not an emotion but the recognition of unity. This practice frees you from the prison of relationships and allows you to dance with the other aspects of your own being. The conclusion of the Codex, Master Consciousness has been revealed to you. The final secret is that there is no secret. There is only one power, one consciousness, one reality, one I am, and you are that. You have completed the Codex. You have deciphered the 10 revelations that guide you from the illusion of powerlessness to the truth of your divine power. You have gone from being a reader of the manuscript to being the author of your own life. You have ceased to be an effect and have reclaimed your birthright as the first cause. We have reached the end of the manuscript. Together we have broken the seal of ordinary perception and traveled through the 10 great revelations of the power of consciousness. We learned the law of the mirror. Recognizing our reality as an echo of the soul, we deciphered the secret of non-resistance, the art of surrendering to win. We opened the inner eye, reclaiming imagination as the architect of our world. We became the empty cup, ready to receive the universe's abundance. We concentrated our power with unique focus. We became a channel for divine flow. We learned to sow the golden harvest of gratitude as a cause, not an effect. We trusted the clock without hands of divine timing. We recognized the network of synchronicity that weaves our destiny. And finally, in the culminating revelation, we remembered our true identity in the master consciousness, the secret of the I am. You have deciphered the Codex. You have received the knowledge. And now with reverence we close the pages of this ancient wisdom. But here lies the final truth, the secret that the manuscript keeps until its last page. The truth is that this audiobook, these words, were never the source of your power. They were only a mirror, an echo, designed to remind you of the power that has always resided within you. The true forbidden knowledge, the true sacred manuscript, is not made of ink and parchment. It is you. Your life from this moment on is the living book. Every day you wake up is a blank page. Every thought you hold is a sentence you write. Every emotion you embody is the color of the ink. Every action you take is a stroke of the pen. You are no longer the reader trying to decipher someone else's destiny. You are the author. The laws you have learned are not rules you must follow. They are the tools of your trade, the instruments with which you now compose the symphony of your existence. Your journey of learning has ended. Your masterpiece begins now. Upon waking each morning, you will no longer wonder what life has in store for you. You will approach the blank page of your day, and with the sovereign calm of an author, you will ask yourself the only question that matters. What magnificent story do I choose to write today? So yes, sir, if this forbidden knowledge has opened the book of your own soul and awakened the author within you, we invite you to continue this exploration. Subscribe to our channel, Path of Knowledge, for more liberating wisdom. Like this video as a declaration that you are ready to write your own story. Share this knowledge with someone who needs to remember that they hold the pen in their own hand. Thank you for your time, for your courage, and for the brave decision to stop reading life and, at last, start writing it.